Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to That Range Life, a show sometimes about golf. I am in Louisville once again, as you can see, my home away from home here. Sorry, podcast listeners, you can't see. With me, as always, Bill Bush, entrepreneur of ThatRangeLife.com. You can follow him at
that's not the website.
I'm sorry, you're right. DrivingRangeHeroes.com. Why did I say that? It's been too long. That's why.
That and it's the show we're doing right now. So
yeah, it's also a travel day. You know, travel days, man. Like,
yeah,
I'm tired. It poured rain. It stormed here like crazy, of course, because when I leave one town that's had a ton of weather, why not go to another town that gets a bunch of weather? Anyways, DrivingRangeHeroes.com is the correct website. At Range Heroes.
There we go.
Now on Threads.
Now on Threads.
Threads. And you can follow me on Threads as well, at Kris McEwen. And I'm back on TikTok. I got so bored. I got to tell you, the wildfires and the havoc, personally, because everything that happens globally, it only matters when it affects me personally. Mm-hmm. I got so bored being stuck in the house. What was it? Saturday or Sunday, whichever day was brutal to breathe outdoors. I reactivated the TikTok. So I'm back on the TikTok.
A thing again, like wildfire air quality?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Did you go outside?
It wasn't bad here.
Really? Oh my God.
At least not that I noticed. I mean, you have to remember there's a certain level of
you might have missed that
shittiness.
Right. You might have missed the swirl coming out of Canada, because you like the weather patterns are weird, right? Because sometimes you guys get weather and we don't.
Right.
And sometimes we get, toxic air and you don't. So bully for you, I guess.
I guess.
One of the advantages of living out in the suburbs.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, no, we could not go outside. It was just like the weekend before or the week before that we had when it was unsuitable air to breathe. So we stayed in the house. I could only, dust and rearrange so many things. And finally I was like, I need something. It was one of those times, I think I've told Adam about it, when I really wish I had a PS5 in my house. It would have been a perfect day to just sit and play a dumb video game for hours on end.
Knowing you, I'm surprised you haven't rectified that situation.
I've been close. I've been close several times. The Costco is very tricky about that stuff. You have to walk past it at our Costco, anyways. You have to walk past the PS5s to get to the fruit, which is really our purpose of going to the Costco. And yeah, every time I walk past it, I'm like, man, I would just like to have one of those in my house. Well, my son, he's an Xbox guy, so I really should probably get an Xbox because then we could play games together, because I don't think there's much that's cross-platform these days.
Yeah, I wouldn't even know.
God, cross-platform would be amazing.
To me, it's like anything beyond PlayStation 2, and this is with having a 3 as well. Beyond PlayStation 2, I'm done. I kind of get the coolness of Switch purely for like Mario Kart and Mario
Switch
Party.
Would be fun, yeah, because of Mario Kart for sure. We used to do back in the single Kris days. We had a Wii, and I would have parties at my house because I was the single guy, and so everyone would come to my house, and in order to drive home from a party at Kris McEwen's house, you would have to win a Mario Kart race. That was like our sobriety check. If you couldn't win, you couldn't drive. That was just the way that was going to go.
It's pretty good. Our Wii game was Rock Band, and
we did a ton of Rock Band for sure.
It was that weird period of time transitioning into flat screens and widescreens, right? So the frame rates of Wii couldn't keep up with your TV that well, and so like you had to do the whole calibration thing. Which made a big difference for Guitar Hero, Rock Band, whatever. And like you could never get it calibrated correctly. That was the end of Nintendo Wii for me, and thus the reason I've stuck with 64 and PlayStation 2 out here.
Oh God,
I would say I almost want to get loosely.
I almost want to get a PS5 or an Xbox, whatever it is now, X, I think, just for you to experience them because they are incredible.
Oh, I mean, I've seen them. I've had the interactions.
Have you played them? You played them?
Yeah. I shouldn't say anytime recently. I don't know if I've played. I don't know. Maybe I haven't played 4. PlayStation 4. No, I have.
God, it's so good. I mean, obviously the sports games, I play all the sports games, and it's just amazing. And I haven't even, the original want of a PS5, boy, this show really started off with a sometimes and sometimes back off. Watching The Last of Us, really, I was like, I really, really want to play that game now after watching the series. I'd like to do that. But anyways, how are you, man?
It has been a while, hey, dude, I believe for those keeping score at home, we've had 1-2 shows back. I don't know. And then last week, like, well, should we do a show? We took a week off because you were traveling for fun. And then you came back, you're like, oh, we should probably do a show. And I was like, I'm in no mental place to do one. So just take this week off. And I would say I'm still in the similar vicinity to that, but functioning and looking forward to this as opposed to last week where it's like I just want to lay in my bed and watch YouTube and grunt at anyone trying to talk to me. That's where I was. But we had a rough go. Like my dog passed away. That's the other thing that killed me too. It's like given the series of life, like I didn't even get a chance to properly acknowledge that and do we didn't have a show for you to do an appropriate edit of your dog in it like we did when my dog died. It's just I'm barely in a place now, honestly, to still speak about it. I have to go into the office tomorrow, and it's a very dog friendly office, and I have to mentally prepare myself tomorrow morning to go in and hang out because there's 2 dogs that kind of look like mine, and it's a whole thing, and it's been rough. We'll tell you,
pun intended.
Liam did say today, because my house is so, I don't know if you recall this, but I said, all right, we deserve a dog break, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
We'll get one. We'll start looking into dogs again spring 2023. Well, obviously that rolled around and passed, and no pun intended. And we were like, my wife and I were both like, kind of don't mind just not having a dog business.
Right.
And not to do this to you, I feel bad, but I'm going to say it. After having an old, decrepit, crabby dog for so long, the dust will settle and you'll go, it's kind of nice not have to worry about a dog. I'm not saying you won't want, probably because you don't have kids, you will want one sooner.
So that's the thing. It's a strange trend. So Zell and I have never known each other as a couple, I should say, because we knew each other a long, long time ago, but we've never known each other as a couple or in the current home we're in without that guy, without Pupcake in the house.
Right.
So like we've always just kind of, and like you said, like later, as he got later in life, our lives revolved around that guy just to make sure he was okay.
Oh yeah. Right.
Everything. Right. We had curfews and the whole thing, or I would leave the house or she would leave the house, whatever. And now it's just like,
I forgot about that stuff. That might, okay. So while I said, you don't have kids, so it's different, but there may be, enjoying some time of peace from the rules and regulations and stipulations that came with those.
Yeah. I added a day to my Sand Valley trip, which eventually we'll talk to here once we start talking about actual golf. But like after he had, passed, I was like, well, because I cut it. It was originally Friday to Monday. And I said, well, I got to get back on Sunday. That's too many days for my wife to take care of the dog. He's high maintenance, whatever. And shout out Darren. He's like, yeah, dude, of course, whatever. It's fine. And then once he had passed, I'm like, well, I'm back open for Monday. And also to Darren's credit, he did not say like, oh, did your dog die? Like, you know what I mean? He was like, cool, man. Like, yeah, stay Monday. So, we were already sort of trying to figure things out, but it's just weird. Like those things where I feel like we were talking about you and when your dog passed away, like you still had humans that you had to keep alive. Like you had little kids that you had to take care of, and that would distract you a little bit from the morning period.
Another advantage of my situation, quite literally, not just little humans, my own human, I had to keep alive.
That's true too. You were actually right.
I don't remember in our text conversation, because again, with your friends, especially guys, it's like you say you're sorry and you feel for someone and you express your support, but then you sort of run into like, what do you, especially in text, like what do you do and don't do, say, not say, kind of a deal. I don't remember. I don't remember if we did say that, but like in a way, my dog dying when she did was an extremely wonderful gift as a distraction for reality for my children. So, like, hey, it's your dog and my dog was 1 billion years old, but
same
when you, it was almost a grace of God situation.
Yeah.
Sacrificing herself for the betterment of my wife and myself, I suppose.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So we're trying to figure things out. Like, like when it's one of those things where it's like, okay, well, you could, when you're a kid or something and your parents are like, you can have any ice cream you want. You can have anything you want from the menu. And you're like overwhelmed with options and possibilities. It's kind of like where we are. We don't like, now we can do any, like we could go and stay in another state for 3 weeks, for a month if we wanted to. Like nothing is like we booked a trip for October, or we're going to book another trip for December. I'm going to go, when she goes away on her trip in August, I'm going to go up to somewhere and play golf for the week. Like it's really just a weird space for us. We've never experienced it. So we're just kind of adjusting to that whole thing. It's really weird too, because like where his stuff used to be, like we still walk, like where's food bowls, where we still walk around it, like it's still there. And it's like, it's just a very weird transition. And going through all the firsts, like coming home for the first time and he's not there, and waking up in the morning and he's not there, or one of us being like, I would come home and my wife would be out and it would just be me in the house and be like, whoa, this is wild.
Yeah.
Like I've never been alone in the house before. Like, anyways, fun conversation.
All you needed was a really like OCD 9-year-old, and you would have had all that stuff that you had to step around lingering for far too long, almost as like an altar and shrine.
Oh, there's still some of
around the house.
There's still some of that for sure. I'm not prepared to either donate or throw away some of the stuff. Like it's going to stay for a minute. I just need to come to terms with that.
Some off the air stories about that path in our house at some point, if I haven't told you already, but it's
but I will say just to transition away from this before I get too sad and miss my dog again, all over again. It was really the timing of the Sand Valley trip was perfect. Like I had to get out of that freaking house.
Yeah.
Like I had to get out of the house. And, I did feel a little guilty because I felt like I was abandoning Zell a little bit, but she also, we mourn in very different ways. And like, she is vocal about every emotion and everything else. And me, I'm not that way. So it was good for, just me to go and play a ton of golf. And I guess I'm gonna, have you played the Sand Valley courses, Mammoth and Sand Valley?
Multiple times.
Oh, you have? Okay. So do you have have you done the Sandbox?
I've not ever played Sandbox because I've never gone up. I just have never gone up in groups. But rarely with groups and sort of in that situation. And the times I've ever played up there with somebody, it's been very like, hey, kind of get in, get out situation. Right. So I've never, and part of me is like, I hear everybody describe the Sandbox and like, me well. I guess our listeners should know me well enough at this point. Like I hear the Sandbox stuff and I'm like, on paper, yeah, it sounds like a blast. I'm sure it's a blast, but I get very like whoa, you're not wearing shoes or you're in a t-shirt and you're drinking beers out of the canoe. Like, that's cool. It's cool.
There's no canoe anymore, unfortunately, but
COVID killed it.
I don't know. I don't know when they took that away.
Well, so there's that stuff. And like going up and doing that by yourself.
Right.
Like,
No,
I'm
that
not
ain't
like,
it. Yeah.
oh, joy. And even like, say, my brother-in-law and I are staying at the in-laws lake house nearish by. We're like, let's go over there, guys. Even just, I think the two of us.
No.
It kind of be like, oh, okay.
No.
Cool. And then just like, oh, just because I want to play it and see it.
No.
I feel like that's a lot of, isn't it not cheap to just play it?
I honestly don't know what it costs. I think it's $50 to play.
But isn't that like if you're staying or with there's some?
Yeah, I don't know. All the pricing is weird and different. And if you play, if it's the third course you play of the day on property, it's free. Which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah, it's great.
But
that vibe is like, and you're not going to go, well, I'm up here. This is my chance to go play it. Well, I haven't seen it yet, so I'm going to play the Sandbox.
Right.
So I haven't. Right. I mean, don't get me wrong. I want one of those hole-in-one shovels so bad. Like that's my life aspiration. I would say if it's 4 of us or 6 of us or whatever it is, you need a group, and it really is. We played it, there were 4 of us. We played it barefoot in t-shirts with music and all those things that you just poo-pooed on, basically. But it's exactly what I did. Yeah,
and we kicked off. I think we started our day there instead of ending it there. But it's just like it takes like an hour, whatever. It's 17 holes. You walk around. The longest shot I think was 115 yards or something. So they have bags if you want to, if you just bring a couple clubs, they have like complimentary just carry bags, like Sunday bags, whatever you can throw in there. But yeah, it's really fun. Do you have a favorite between the 2 big courses?
No.
Really?
Yeah, I don't, because they're very different experiences in my opinion. And
that's very true.
It has a lot to do with, it's silly saying it about this place, but setup. Sand Valley course can set up very, very difficult.
Yes.
Could also set up and play very resorty, sort of like it looks more menacing than it is.
Maybe.
Usually those greens are pretty quick.
Yes.
The ball does not it can very easily not stay on him. And you go, wow, that thing's the size of 3 football fields to land on, and you'll still miss it. So, I think in terms of a golf experience, Sand Valley course was better. And in a lot of ways, I'm going to play this game. I played Pinehurst 2 post Core Crenshaw renovation back in the day. And in a lot of ways, while it doesn't necessarily look like Pinehurst 2, and it took me a few times of playing in Sand Valley. It took me a few times to like see it, realize it, feel it, but like it has a lot of those vibes to it. And I thought like, oh, this is pretty neat. I get it. So, that's why that one jumps out at me, and I don't think it compares. Where I think Mammoth is visually more stunning, and I'll say interesting, and there's a lot of things throughout the experience where you're like, look at that. And I think they all sort of suffer from that. We've talked about it, I think, on the show probably before. Suffer a little bit from that. There's not that like signature one hole. It all sort of, Abandoned Dunes is known for this, where it's like it's all so beautiful, but it's like, it all sort of bleeds together. And I think Mammoth, you start to get a little more specific standout-y moments throughout the trip. And specifically, I don't know, I've heard arguments in all the different ways. I think the Ruins hole is so good. That I wish I knew, and I think we talked about it again on this show, like, I would love to know more about the history. And it just, as far as anybody knew, it didn't exist. And they started digging up the golf course and they're like, oh, there's a 260-year-old barn here.
Oh, yeah.
Like that stuff's.
Yeah.
in the middle of what was a hundreds of year old pine forest.
It's a glacier. Yeah, it's a dead glacier. I mean, it's when we were walking it. I will tell you. I'll say here's what I'll say about Sand Valley. Not even versus Mammoth, and Mammoth. If I were hosting and I talked about this with my new best friend Joe Sass, who was on the trip with us. He does a golf trip with his buddies, very similar to the one I do every year in Arizona. And the handicaps range from 5-6 to 18 to 20, right? Mm-hmm. The guys that are the higher handicap guys are not going to like Sand Valley. They're not going to be able to hold greens. They're not going to be able to make those forced carries, because there's a lot of forced carries over, at Sand Valley. It's not going to be a super fun course for them, right? Necessarily, right? And then you have Mammoth, which I have played Mammoth now 3 times, and I will tell you now that it's by far my favorite golf course I've ever played. I love it more than Lasonia, which I love Lasonia Link so much. It's just the most fun you can have on a golf course. And you're right, because that point that you made about, I think everyone could play Mammoth and have a different favorite hole or a different memory of a specific hole or a shot or whatever, because David McClay Kidd made it that way. He made it so that, I think he had talked about it. Like if you're playing match play and you birdie the hole, you win it. If you par it, you push it. If you bogey, you lose it. And that was kind of his mentality around designing that golf course, because at the end of the day, you have, 100 to 200 yard wide fairways. Like you're going to hit the fairway, right? It's not that hard to hit a fairway, but the fun part of it is if you hit the right part of the fairway, you can set yourself up for birdies. You can set yourself up for very short second shots. You can set yourself up for eagle putts on a par 4, which I had multiple over the week. I'd
say there's a lot of, almost to the point where, especially for as long as that course seems like, almost an inappropriate amount of drivable greens where
there's at least 2 for sure. There's a boomerang hole, right? The boomerang hole, which I can't remember the number of it. And then there was the one that they actually let like an amateur design, which is the waterfall, where if you hit it at the alligator sand trap, the sand trap looks like an alligator smiling at you. If you hit it there, it's going to roll right back up, right on down to the green. Just a course that we would, I don't know how often you just hit a shot and you start to laugh with your foursome, because it's just so fun to watch what the ball's going to do on the ground, or it's just so fun to see where the ball ended up. Or if you mishit off the tee box, it still ends up in a place that's very playable. And you just kind of laugh about it. And it's just, we played it twice. We played it back to back, I think on Saturday. And it's so much fun. It's just
I feel like a lot of courses that if they had similar characteristics to that, where there's a little bit of, I hit a good shot, but there's some uncertainty of what's going to happen with it. And it's a little amusement parky. That would almost be, it would be distasteful and a waste of execution, where I feel like they did a pretty good job of creating it. Again, a little Las Vegas-y, roller coaster-y, flashing lights-y, and it's still a cool, good golf course.
Yep. And I think it's a perfect, like you said, it's a perfect kind of complementary golf course to Sand Valley, because Sand Valley is a shot maker's course. Like if you want to play Sand Valley well, you're going to have to hit some shots. You're going to have to shape it. You're going to have to spin it. You're going to have to hit some very specific, if you like, those greens are they're going to defend themselves, and you have to hit, a 20-foot diameter spot, to really get some play on the greens and to be close to the pin. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what's great about both of those courses. I think they complement each other really well. Can I tell you about the Lido? Because I got to play the Lido.
Before you do, is that par 64 Doak course anywhere near complete?
It's close, yeah. So I think 9 holes are done. It's going to be open for preview play this fall. Rumor has it. I don't know if I can say that out loud or not, but
maybe you should make some calls for us.
But I think it's going to be a par 68. I thought. Is it a 64?
I don't know.
Do you know that for sure? Okay. I know it's going to be shorter. I think it's going to be 6,000 yards or something at its tips or something. It's going to be very different. It's going to be very, I think, private. The Lido, I think you can only put a Lido if you stay on property.
Or you're a member.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is where I apologize. I start getting a little lost in the, like, what they're doing up there with their memberships and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, all right.
I mean, it's a different model. I don't really understand. I mean, you have a membership and you get access to tee times on the public courses, and you have membership to the private courses, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I would love to have the ducats to pay for a membership and find out exactly how it worked. But here I am in some bullshit hotel in Louisville. So,
never mind. I'll say my Louisville story for next history for the next time you go there.
Although it's Burger Week here, which I'm very excited about. So a lot of restaurants are doing like very specialty burgers. So I might have to go out tomorrow night and sample a few.
Maybe it'll be a good street fest with some swag that'll make people not watch our show anymore. We'll miss them so much.
Right. Oh. Anyways, so let's talk about the Lido. For those that don't know, do we want to give a little background on why the Lido is significant historically speaking?
Now I'm wondering if we should just do a dedicated Lido show. Nah, screw it. Just talk about the Lido.
No, because I don't really have that much to talk about it. So the Lido existed pre-World War II on the East Coast. I think it was on Long Island, I think.
Yeah.
And it was basically dug up and destroyed by the military in preparation for World War II, and it was lost to history. And now it's been rebuilt. And it's quirky. It feels like an old course. I can tell you the first thing is when you finish on 18, to get back to the clubhouse, you have to walk down the 9th hole, the 9th fairway.
Was that how the original was?
Yeah, it was that way, but the clubhouse was in a different spot. So in the original build, there was a big, I think, hotel / clubhouse right smack down in the middle of and the course went around it. The course kind of went around the whole building. So that building isn't there. There's just a little clubhouse there. It's very, very young. I mean, we might have been, I think we might have been the second day of play on that course. So they're still working on it. They're still making some improvements. There's still it's all sand. Like when you walk from green to tee, a lot of times you're trudging through sand to get to it. They haven't put up at Sand Valley and at Mammoth, they have
crushed gravel.
Yeah, crushed gravel, or they have boards or whatever to get you through it. We felt bad for the caddies because you also have to have caddies. Another caveat is you have to walk all these golf courses for people that haven't been there unless you have an ADA exception, but otherwise you are walking, which for the most parts is fine. If you're a somewhat healthy human being, you can walk them. It's not that big a deal. Anyways, the Lido it really felt like stepping back in time, like legit. You could tell that this was a classic golf course. It had the template holes. The routing was tight routing, fairways running parallel to one another quite a bit. We're used to that a little bit in the Midwest, I feel like. But the only difference is there isn't a tree on the property. It's just all completely wide open. Right?
I think you left out some important pieces of information for appreciating what you're saying, in that the whole way. So a lot of people in his history post Lido. So Lido was regarded as CB Macdonald's greatest design of any in all of the golden era of golf architecture.
Correct.
And like you said, it had to get dug up. And there have been attempts to recreate it and build it. And I'm sure, depending who you talk to, some have been great, some have not, whatever. I don't know. I'm not claiming to be an expert, just that multiple people have tried it over the years.
Right.
And I don't know all the names, so I apologize for that. But basically this guy, a golf nerd, internet golf nerd, not unlike us, who happened to also be a good engineer and CAD guy, just was infatuated by the Lido and researching it and studying maps and pictures and aerials and all this stuff. and recreated a digital model of it. I was going to do it a disservice of calling it a copy. Digital model of it, 3D topography, everything. And essentially got in the right ears of the family who, I forget who owns
the Kaisers.
Is it the Kaisers who own the whole thing? The Kaisers, probably was the Kaisers.
Yeah.
And they, there's something going on here. And I don't know. I feel like Doak had some insight into it too. And so they went, you've done all this work. And the guy, and a lot of experts are saying your model here is close to perfect.
Yeah.
As anyone's ever made of this thing. And most likely the closest plan to the originals. We have the money. We have the space.
We have the land. Yeah. Right.
Let's, it won't be exact, obviously, because it's not Long Island.
Right. Right.
And it's in the middle of a desert in the Midwest.
Right.
But we can do something cool here. We have the technology. So taking that guy's 3D model, which you can go online and find fairly easy. Don't put in the link. Let people do the work for it. We do enough for these people, Kris. And I mean, this was just this guy's like golf nerd passion project.
Yeah.
Caught enough of the right attention. And so when they made the course, it wasn't even like, oh, close, inspired to, and we think this is what it looks like. It is supposed to be to the T, the Lido, not a modern interpretation, not putting holes like, well, look, back in the day, they were this tight because of the property, but we can spread them out because we have the space. No, we are taking it and just stamping it down here.
Yep. And that's basically what they did. Now, yeah. And I thought about you on multiple holes on that golf course, because I feel like this is one that we gotta get you on. I think you would really, really enjoy it. I think it's really fun. It's super playable, and it's just like that unique piece of golf lore that you appreciate.
Yeah, I'm dying to.
You know what I mean?
Since the first thing came out that they were doing it, I've been excited about it. As you know, I'm a big CB McDonald, Seth Rainer. That
I think you'd really just. I think you just. I mean, and it's got these really cool, unique. So I don't know how much I want to say, because I don't want to spoil it for a lot of people, because it was so. The little things of the resort.
Here's one thing I'm going to say to you.
Yeah.
It's well documented all over the place. I've been singing about it for years, and it's based off of a course that's well documented and historically significant. There's only so much spoiling you can do.
No, but the thing I really appreciate about Sand Valley in its entirety, we've all seen the pricing board, right? Where everything's $1.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's $1. Right. All your snacks, food, beverages, I should say non-alcoholic beverages are $1. Right. All beers are $3.
I say a spotted cow might set you back a whopping $3.
Yeah. But so there's little things like that. Like, yes, you're paying a lot of money to stay on the resort, to play the golf courses. It's not cheap, but they could easily charge you $5 for every snack, $7 for every beer. Like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, once you get out in the resort, you're like, well, whatever, I'm here. I'm just going to, I want a taco. I want an ice cream sandwich. I want a beer. I'm going to pay what it costs, which is what every other golf course in the world basically does, other than Augusta, I guess. But there's those little things like that. And then when you get to the Lido, and on the resort, on all the golf courses on the resort, they have coolers with water. So all the water's complimentary. You can drink as much water you want. On the Lido, they have the same things. They have coolers with water, but they also, when you're at the clubhouse, they're like, do you want a water bottle? And so all of us were like, sure, I'll take a water bottle. And so they give you one of the aluminum, keep stuff cold, keep stuff hot, aluminum water bottles with the Lido logo on it. But the Lido logo is amazing. I love it. And then throughout the golf course, they have giant old school water pumps.
Yeah.
And so you can fill your water bottle straight from the well out of the ground. And it's just one of those just little things. Like, they could charge you $5 for that, and I would have bought it. But they're like, no, they're here, take it, have it.
I'm going to argue with that fee. Well, one, the right to play it, and then the fee to play it. That's the least they can do for you.
Yeah, but they don't have to. That's yes. That's
no, they don't have to.
They don't have to, and they could still make $5 or $3 off of whatever it is. They could still
$25.
I think about all the times you get nickel and dime when you go anywhere in life. And they just, I don't know, man. Like, I just have an appreciation for that. Yes, you're right. For what you're paying, that's the least they could do. But at the same time, it's a nice touch to me.
Do you know what I want to know now? Real bad. Because this would be like, hats off to them. I would say it's worth every penny, and I have no negative anything to say on that front. If you go to these old million-year-old golf courses, that's how you got water on the course.
That's how you got water.
Yep. Pumps. When I played Alverton Country Club, as Adam Unfiltered has written about.
Yes.
I played it right before it disappeared. They still had those out on. They didn't work, but I've never actually seen these things on course before, and I've seen it 2 other times, both in Wisconsin. One at Milwaukee Country Club, and they had I don't know, they might have had like 2 of them out there, and I don't know if they worked. And then Spring Valley, up I forgot the town it's in. Is it Spring Valley? I don't know, whatever. It's right over the border. And they had a few of them, and apparently they were spring fed. And so the water, and they worked, and the water itself was good, but the pipes were just like so bad and gross. So they don't let you drink it anymore.
Yeah.
But as I learned, and that like dawned on me that, well, of course, these rich guys in their country club estate would be thirsty and would like water on golf courses,
right?
And would need to be supplied. So they would have. That's obviously how they would have water on these things.
Yeah,
it made me so upset that all these courses, these great historical golf courses I've played that have been around for over 100 years, no one over the time thought to keep them, and they aren't there anymore. I guess for a million reasons, I get why they haven't.
Yeah.
But if you told me that those pumps were in the exact same spots on the map that they were at the original Lido, wow, that would be good. Because
that's a good question.
They could be.
They could be. Yeah. I don't know, but they could be. But I mean, it's a really fun sort of just thing that they didn't have to put in there, and they're in there, and it's super cool. So they could use one more. I wonder about, now I need to find that out, because they could use one more on the 18 route, because you hit 3 of them, I think, on the front 9, and you only have 1 on the back. Because then the next time we hit it was 18, and we're like, well, I'm done playing now. But we did it anyways, because it's awesome.
Right.
But yeah, so that was a cool thing. Now, I don't usually talk about my score when I do these outings or these trips, but I have to tell you about the Lido, Bill.
Okay.
So the Lido is a par 72. It's a 35 in the front, 37 on the back.
Okay.
I shot an 81 with a 7 on a par 3. A 7, Bill.
That would have been a heck of a place to get the job done.
I know. It was one of those days. It was just one of those days, right? Like I think I shot a 40 on the front, and I'm thinking, well, so I'm 5 over, but I got a 37 on the back. Like I think I can get this. I can do this, right? Like it's there. And I was playing well. And of course, the next day on Sand Valley, I shot a 92. And I just couldn't hit a golf ball to save my life.
Like 92 on Sand Valley for us is serviceable.
Yeah, I didn't feel bad about it. But I mean, I did go, I think I was 1 under. So it's funny. We played Friday. We played Sand Valley on Friday, Mammoth twice on Saturday. Then the short course and Lido on Sunday, and then Sand Valley again on Monday. And on Friday, I started Sand Valley even after 4. And I was like, okay, all right, let's go. Right. I did not stay even for very long. But then, Lido was by far the best round. I think that there's a couple things that were working in my favor. My caddy was awesome. Shout out to Caden, kid going to Purdue, putting in the work, and giving me great reads all day long. And the fact that we talked about it's a Midwest feel of a golf course with those tight fairways, but no trees. Yeah. So, if I hit, the first hole I hit into, I think 1 and 10 or 1 in 11 run next to each other. I hit it to the wrong fairway, but I had an easy look into the green, and there are a couple holes like that.
I hope they keep it like that, because the original Lido would have been like that, and it never got old enough to grow the 150-year-old oak trees. So
well, they're not planting trees on there. There's no trees
now, and you know, like that, like happens here with all these courses. Somebody gets a great idea who's in charge of the place 25 years from now, like, we better put some saplings in.
Right.
Great.
Yeah, but just really that course, it's special. I think it lived up to the hype. Some of the greens are just so much fun, and it's just a really fun course to play.
Yeah, I'm dying to play it. I'm hoping something falls into place and lines up for this year. I'd love to. Yeah, it's been on my list. I'm not calling it quite. It's available. It's pay to play it. So it's not bucket list stuff for me by any means, but I think you would really it's like high up there for,
and I would really like to watch. I'd like to walk it with you, because I think you would see the stuff that I know Mitch played 9 of it, and Darren, who's also a golf course kind of historian, kind of like you, not like you are, but like, he knows his stuff. And he could see things, but I feel like walking with you could see a lot of the stuff that, most of us just don't see in a golf course. You know what I mean?
I've been on property at Chicago Golf Club 3 times.
Right. That's what I mean. The kind of stuff that,
2 of which to play, one of which being the U.S. Women's Open. And I still think the most fun time I had was at U.S. Women's Open, Senior Women's Open. Because you could just walk the course and follow them on the holes. And so here's, me and John Heisey, like looking at fairway bunkers sideways. Like, look at, wow.
Right. Yeah.
Wandering off into tree lines to be like, oh, look at this mound that was probably out in the middle of the hole, and now the trees. And if you think about the way that, obviously Sand Valley and Mammoth are very produced. They had the land to work through, and and Maclay Kid had to work around the ridge and incorporate the ridge and things like that. But they pushed a lot of dirt around, right? Yeah.
Just like Lasonia, they pushed a lot of dirt around to create the Lido. The original Lido, they didn't have the tools to move dirt the way that we move dirt now. And so for them to like recreate that and think like this hill or this green that you're hitting up into a blind sort of punch bowl, that was essentially there.
Yeah.
And they just built a hole like that, like just with the land the way it was. And it's just, I don't know. It's really cool to think about that. Like it's not, yes, the new Lido is a manufactured golf club course, obviously, but based on the original drawings, like when McDonald designed that golf course, he just built holes where he could build holes, and they turned out to be just incredible.
Yeah. I like to think of it literally like they created just like a giant like metal stamp of it and just went into the sand dunes and just went
thunk. Right. That's like a Han Solo frozen thing, right? Like a mold. Yeah, but it's really fun. I think it'll only get better. The greens were really hard to hold because they're so young. And the fairways were a little furry because they're so young, and they're, they got to let them grow. And the walk, I felt so bad for the caddies because they're carrying 2 bags each, trudging through the sand from tee box.
I wonder why that is. I feel like that's something that would have been easily rectified.
I think
there's got to be a reason for it.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like I think they just wanted it open to be played. And if you want to play it, then that's part of what you're gonna have to deal with for now.
Yeah.
And so, like, why not open it? It's still very playable, clearly. Right. But yeah, they'll get to that stuff.
I can't wait. I gotta get out there. I really do. Yeah. Man, the Lido. How about it?
The Lido. Yeah, but I'll maybe end of this season, you and I could sneak up there for a day and check out both of those and see if we can weasel our way on there one more time.
All right, sold.
Apparently, from everything I've heard about Sedge, which will be very, very different than what is out there right now. It's really being built for the members. There won't be a lot of public play on it necessarily, but it might be the best golf course of the 4. Eventually.
We talked about this because of your Michigan Doak stuff you love. I'm always, what is it? Where you're trepidatious, where you're cautious. Is that when you're cautious?
You have trepidation? Right.
To have trepidation.
Right.
Maybe I'm using it right. Leave a comment below. I'm not skeptical, I'm not pessimistic, but I feel like Doak. Skeptical? No, I'm not skeptical yet because I'm not. I don't have a negative thing from it, but I approach with caution because I've seen him. He does fantastic work, like both ends of it's like either end of the spectrum. It's either so good what he does, or it's like, well, what is this? What did you do? And he gets very almost like a little big for his britches and tries to be such a cool guy. That's not a fair thing to say. I'm just making conversation.
Right.
Or something where it just gets really silly. So anytime it's like he's going on something and I hear the like sort of big extravagant claims before it exists, I start going, uh-oh. Because that's kind of what I feel like what happened at Medina 1 when I know some people love it, but like I still say the whole Medina 1 thing was a little wacky. If people want to disagree with me, that's fine. The good thing about golf, it's subjective. You can love what you love. It is subjective.
It's totally subjective. Yeah, for sure.
But like I said, I mean, Doak's also done some of the most brilliant work in the modern era. So
I know it's really interesting you say that about Doak because we were having a conversation about McClay Kidd, who was, he was designing courses like that. And it was either, like you said, both ends of the spectrum, right? Like either people really, really loved it or they really, really hated it. And McClay Kidd was like, well, that's not what I want to make. And he like totally he did the whole, reflection, look himself in the mirror and be like, what is it that I'm doing that is so polarizing. Yeah, exactly. And tried to fix that. And I think it seems like he has. I think he's found his sweet spot where he just makes really fun, playable golf courses. Yeah, it
certainly feels like he can't miss. But
yeah.
I mean, I think I've played. I think I played one McClay Kidd, so what do I know?
Same. I mean, I've played Mammoth a bunch of times, but I've played now with both Joe and Darren who've played. They love Gamble Sands, which is another McClay Kidd up in Washington, and they're like, oh, if you love Mammoth, you got to get to Gamble. You'll actually really, really love that golf course. So now I got to get up to Washington. I got to go play Gamble.
Yeah, I say, listen, you start if you love this, you got to that in golf. It's a slippery slope.
Right. But I think Darren and I were talking about it. I think I want to play all the McClay Kidds. I think that's going to be instead of like having a top 100 or whatever, I just want to go and play all the David McClay Kidd courses.
My goal is just to play all the Tweeter top 50. That's my goal.
Can I tell you something? This is not. I enjoyed the tweets, so to speak. I met up with Rick Moe, who was on my old podcast, and he's top 100 Rick on Twitter and Instagram, and their goal is to play X number of golf courses and rating and reviewing or whatever, scoring these golf courses. And I'm not that. I don't do that. Like I have no interest whatsoever in ranking golf courses. What you heard me talk about with these golf courses, what you'll hear me say about any golf course, whether it's fun, whether it's hard, whether it's whatever, right? I will tell you the ones that I love, which is my favorite golf courses and whatever. But I've removed the Twitter app from my phone. And so
which I'm happy to hear. I do not like Twitter, Kris. I just don't. So I don't like Twitter. It's just not a great place. It's not a healthy place in general. And for the record, that was happening well before Elon stuff. I'm not saying.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's just really,
relax.
It's just really ramped up as of late. Anyways, my point is, I love all those guys. I like playing golf with them. I'd love to have a conversation on the golf course with Brian about golf courses, but moving away from Twitter and onto Threads where there is no golf presence really yet, right? It's just chaotic and weird and fun. I don't miss the golf course lists. I don't miss the rankings. I don't miss any of that stuff, man. Like, I don't care. I just don't care. Yeah. And I know that's mean to say because I know those guys do care. And again, I don't mean it to be like derogatory or dismissive or anything, but like
to me, it's just
not my thing. Like, I don't care how many courses you've played. I don't care what you rank them as. Like, Brian, God bless him, does like my new top 10 of Nicklaus courses and my new top 10 of Wisconsin. Like, holy shit, dude. I don't care.
But see, here's what it's not. I get it, and it's a lot. It's not unlike having a website.
Sure,
and that.
But like he really loves it, and it makes me happy that it makes him happy.
This is like his journey and his experience he's capturing. Correct. What gets me with not just him, any of them, it's like the follow-up interactions of your opinions and experience here are not. These are things you are stating as factual statements that are just incorrect now, and we have to fight about it. And I'm going to have to talk down to you. And I'll always go back to when myself, him, and John went and played Oakland Hills. And I still quick recap of that story. We played this par 3 that had no less than 50 maintenance workers on it one time. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
And he just made a wisecrack about it, like harmless.
Yeah. He got lit up, right?
And it just exploded. And I'm like, that's it in a nutshell. It's like not that somebody, even if it was an inappropriate comment, it's like the inappropriate first comment's not the problem. It's the everyone just like discussing like the new Constitution is being, written in front of us over Brian Tweed's favorite Donald Ross courses.
That's why you'll hear me say Mammoth Dunes is my favorite golf course that I've ever played to date. Well, that's why I qualify that, because I'm sure people will have other golf courses that they think are better or their favorites, and that's great. Have your favorites. Mammoth is my favorite.
3 weeks from now, you go up and play Lasonia, and you go, nah, I thought recency bias. I got back on Lasonia. No, Lasonia. Like, you might do that. You might do it. You don't know.
And Lasonia Links is not far away from Mammoth Dunes. It's a close second. But I think the thing that Lasonia Links has going for it is just the general sort of vibe of the joint in general, and the history around it.
I'd say for me,
and the history around it.
It's like the actual 100-year-old thing, and that especially in our game, how rare that accessibility and authenticity.
It's very true.
Is
speaking of which, probably won't go there. I know you referenced. I was thinking about going up there in August, but I think we're going to go somewhere else.
I didn't reference anything. I guess it seemed like I did. I took arbitrary time frames and places.
Because I am going to go back up there. It was floated to go back up there in August, but I think I'm going to go in September. And they have. I would like you to join me for that. But they have officially finished renovating all of the traps, and they have also widened many of the fairways to their original width.
Oh, I'd like to see that.
Right. So I think we should go up there and finish the season up there.
Okay.
It'll be fun.
Well, no, you said a little later we're finishing the season at Sand Valley. Lido.
Or that.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be I don't know when Sedge will be available.
Just figure it out. All right.
We could do all of those.
Actually. They're close. I know a house.
All right. Sorry, man. I took up that whole show with my travails.
What was I going to talk about? It's not a big deal. Hey, don't forget, go to roback.com, use that code, ThatRangeLife15 for 50% off all your first orders. And
15%. That's right. 15% off. They just came out. Are you going to get it? The Daryl Are You Kidding Me shirt.
I didn't see it.
Oh, it's a grill shirt. I think you really, really like it. It's got all the grilling utensils on it.
It's too on the nose.
And come on.
I got to tell you, I've made a Roback pickup this past week, and I think I brought my young daughter in to help make the decision, and I thought I had a good polo shirt. I'm like, oh, this one. And she's like, no, do not get that polo shirt.
Really?
All right, say less. But
that's pretty funny.
I think I've hit that window of I might have enough polo shirts.
Yeah,
might.
I've got 3. I think I want one more, and then I'm gonna
polo shirts. Period.
Oh,
Roback or otherwise, but definitely Roback
Jesus.
too. So I think.
Well, I mean, you know my new policy: 1 in, 1 out from now on.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely. Which don't worry, I've already ran into a problem with that policy. So.
I've got a shoe issue. I bought 2 new pairs of golf shoes, and now I have to make decisions. They're not going to be easy ones.
I'll help you.
Anyways, that Range Life 1.5 at checkout on Roback.com.
And don't forget, play Bridgestone golf balls. They're still the best. I'll talk about them more next week. And hey, I'm going to tell you a little story to wrap up the show. I had to get a filling fixed. And I'm like, this hasn't been right. And any time I've been drinking without a straw, just excruciating pain.
Really?
And my dentist we'll go in. He's like, that filling was pretty deep, probably close to the nerve. I'm going to send you to the root canal guy. So I have that coming. But as a result of this, Kris, I'm not drinking as much. Because I have to make sure I have a straw. And then I ran into this issue. There's something, we don't know what, something took a turn in the refrigerator. And the refrigerator and the freezer, everything just stinks. We've deep cleaned it. We've thrown everything out, done the works. But basically we're hitting that turn of it's better. But, I think we just have to unplug it and let it air out for a few days. And thankfully we have a refrigerator in the garage, as you well know. But this is a real result. I'm not drinking much water. I'm not, the ice is gross. The water is gross. It hurts my tooth.
Right.
Do you know what I could use though to really make up for that? If I can only drink so much, you still need to get the nutrients, stay hydrated. That's where something like Liquid IV comes in.
It's true, man.
Don't forget, guys, Liquid IV will help you out on all day excursions at Sand Valley. It'll help you out 100%. When you have dental issues that make it painful to drink, so you have to make a count when you do. Liquid IV. Kris, tell them what to do for Liquid IV.
Go to liquidiv.com and at checkout use that Range Life as your code, and you will get 20% off. 20 off.
Just do it.
And I can tell you, after my golf trip, I did have Liquid IV in the cottage, and I drank it often. I just threw it in some water and drank it up, and man, it's like a magic elixir.
Right as rain.
Energy gave me the electrolytes I needed, some good recovery because we would drink. All of us were bourbon drinkers / whiskey drinkers.
Oh, God.
So we were sitting around the fire at night, talking about the rounds, talking about golf, talking about travel, talking about life. And
my intestines hurt just imagining that. And
I didn't even mention the real extravagant thing we did just real quick. We had a grill master come to the house and grill us food one night, make us dinner one night, and it was incredible. We felt very uncomfortable with the whole thing, like this is not who we are, right? We're all kind of very uncomfortable with the whole thing, but boy, it was very, very nice.
So you should have done the poor man's version and just had me come do it. Like, nah, that guy. I got a better guy. We can get it cheaper and not feel guilty about it.
The fun thing was the grill master, the woman that did all the steaks and vegetables and the whole thing. Oh, we bought bottles of wine and we had music playing. It was lovely.
All right, stop it. I
then
really started to not like all of you. Right now.
The next day when we were after our short course round. We stop off they have before they just had a taco truck, right there. Now they have a whole barbecue tented area. So we went in there and we're like, let's go get some barbecue, real quick, just for lunch. And it was the same woman. It was the same girl making the barbecue. So she was giving us like taste tests of experiments that she was doing with some cornbread. It was great.
I'm going to close off the show with a quick comment on cornbread. At the 4th of July, one of the blocks by us does a block party kind of deal. And they had they have this food truck come. And this year they did like a cornbread churro donut thing.
Okay.
It was incredible. One of the greatest things I've ever eaten in my life.
Sounds awesome.
All right. Go buy your Liquid IV. Help us out. Follow Kris at Kris McEwen.
That's right.
See where you can find him. He's probably that on whatever social media platform. If he's not there, he'll be back. And you can follow me at Range Heroes and all those same places. Tell a friend to subscribe and do all the things. We really appreciate it. Thank you for joining us this week. Hey, we don't know when, but we'll see you soon.
You wouldn't even know that the Open is this week. We didn't even talk about it at all.
That Range Life, a show sometimes about golf.